Cold winds swept through the quiet streets of Toledo, Ohio, when a 14-year-old boy named Liam Parker stood outside a small diner, watching families eat warm meals he could barely dream of affording. His jacket was thin, his sneakers were worn down, and his pockets completely empty. He pulled them inside out, nothing but air. For most people, that moment would have felt like a dead end. But for Liam, something strange happened. Instead of breaking down, he looked at the glowing diner sign and whispered, "One day, I'll own a place like this." It sounded impossible, even foolish, for a boy who didn't even have enough money to buy a sandwich. But life has a funny way of surprising us, because sometimes the biggest dreams are born inside the smallest, quietest moments. This isn't just the story of a kid struggling with poverty. It's the story of how one thought, one big thought, can begin rewriting destiny. Liam didn't grow up around successful people. He grew up in a fading trailer park with a mother who worked double shifts and neighbors who had long stopped believing in anything better. Every reason around him told him to think small, to expect less, to accept whatever life gave him, but for some reason, he didn't. Maybe because something deep inside him whispered that he was meant for more. Maybe because dreaming didn't cost a single dollar, something he never had anyway. Or maybe because even with empty pockets, his mind felt full of ideas, full of possibilities, full of something the world couldn't take from him. And this is where his journey truly begins, the journey of Liam Parker, the boy with no money, but a heart and mind brave enough to think big. Cold mornings in Toledo often felt heavier for Liam than for anyone else. While other kids rushed to school in warm hoodies and carrying lunch bags, Liam walked alone, hands in his sleeves, pretending he wasn't hungry. In class, when the teacher asked everyone to write about their dream career, most kids wrote things like football player, actor, or gamer. Liam just stared at his blank paper. He didn't want to write a small dream. He wanted something that made him feel alive. Finally, he wrote slowly, "I want to build my own restaurant chain someday." The classroom went silent for a second before the laughter started. "Bro, you don't even have lunch money. You're gonna own restaurants? With what? Wish coins?" The whole room laughed, but Liam didn't. He just smiled softly and whispered to himself, "You'll see." After school, while kids rushed home for snacks, Liam went to the public library. It was warm there, and he could stay until closing. That library unknowingly became the turning point of his life. One winter evening, as snow tapped softly against the windows, Liam wandered between the shelves until a bright red book caught his eye. The Magic of Thinking Big. He picked it up and read a single line that felt like lightning hitting his heart. "Believe you can succeed, and you will." He sat down, opened the book, and didn't move for hours. For the first time, he realized that maybe his environment didn't decide his future, his mindset did. When the library closed and he stepped back into the freezing night, he wasn't the same kid anymore. He didn't know exactly how, but he knew he would build something one day, something much bigger than his life right now. In the weeks that followed, Liam started hustling in ways no one expected. He began mowing lawns for neighbors during the summer, washing cars on weekends, and delivering newspapers at dawn. The money wasn't huge, but every dollar mattered. He had a jar under his bed labeled Dream Fund. While others spent money on games or snacks, Liam didn't touch even a single cent. One day at school, a small notice on the board caught his eye. "Volunteers needed, Thompson's Diner." It felt like destiny calling. He went there that evening and met Mr. Thompson, a tall man in his late 50s with a calm voice and a heart big enough to recognize potential when he saw it. "You're awfully young," Mr. Thompson said, eyeing him. "I'm willing to work harder than anyone," Liam replied, and he meant it. Liam started as a dishwasher, scrubbing plates, wiping tables, carrying supplies. But he treated every task like it was training for his future. He observed everything, how customers reacted to food, how the kitchen worked like a machine, how business decisions were made. Sometimes late at night, When the diner closed and the neon lights flickered outside, Mr. Thompson would find Liam sitting at a counter stool, writing notes in his little notebook. "What are you writing there, son?" "My restaurant plans." "Just ideas." Mr. Thompson smiled. "Thinking big, huh?" "No other way to think," Liam replied. Slowly he learned cooking too. He'd watch the chefs, ask questions, and practice in the back kitchen during slow hours. The staff loved him, not because he was talented, but because his passion made the whole place feel alive. By the time Liam turned 16, he had saved enough to buy old equipment and started experimenting with recipes in his trailer kitchen. His mother would come home from her double shift, exhausted, but seeing Liam mixing ingredients with hope in his eyes made her smile. "Liam, you really believe you can do this, don't you?" He looked up and said, "Mom, if I don't believe it, no one else ever will." But dreams don't grow without challenges. Liam applied for a youth entrepreneurship grant offered by a local community program. He filled the forms carefully, attached his savings record, menu ideas, and business plan. Weeks later, he received his first rejection email, then a second one, then a third. 7 rejections in total. Each rejection hurt like a punch to the chest, but each one also made him stronger. He kept telling himself, thinking big doesn't work unless you stay big inside your mind. On his 8th attempt, he finally received an email. "Congratulations, your proposal has been accepted." Liam froze, staring at the screen, tears forming in his eyes. For the first time in his life, someone had bet on him. Someone believed he could do more than survive. He could create. With the grant money and his own savings, Liam bought an old food truck that had peeling paint, broken windows, and an engine that coughed like an old man. Most people saw trash. Liam saw his future. He spent months transforming it, cleaning, painting, installing equipment, creating a simple but meaningful menu. Finally, he opened his food truck called Liam's Big Bites. At first, business was slow. Standing in that food truck, waiting for customers that barely came, Liam questioned everything. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe thinking big was just a childish dream. But he shook the thought off, because small thinking was exactly what had kept everyone around him trapped. One day, a local college YouTuber tried his food and posted a video review titled, "This poor kid's food truck shocked me." Within hours, the video went viral. The next morning, when Liam arrived at his spot, he gasped. A line stretched across the block. People from all over the city wanted to try the food made by the kid who refused to give up. Business exploded. Liam reinvested everything, buying 2 more food trucks, hiring staff, expanding his menu. In just a few years, he opened his first restaurant. A decade later, he owned multiple locations across different states. Every time he walked into one of his restaurants, he'd pause for a moment, remembering that cold winter night when he stood outside a diner with empty pockets, but a mind full of dreams. Because that was the truth. Liam Parker never got lucky. He just never stopped thinking big. Years later, as the sun set behind the skyline of Columbus, Liam stood quietly inside one of his busiest restaurants. The place was full, families laughing, friends sharing meals, workers grabbing dinner after long shifts. He watched it all with a soft smile, his hands resting on the counter he once dreamed about. For a moment, he closed his eyes. And in that silence, he could still see that 14-year-old boy standing in the freezing cold outside a diner, staring inside with hunger and hope mixed together. He whispered to himself, "We made it. And we're not done yet." Because dreams don't end when you achieve them. Dreams end when you stop believing in them. People often asked Liam what his secret was. How did a boy with empty pockets build something so big? How did he keep going when nothing in life encouraged him? And every time Liam gave the same answer, "I didn't grow up with money. I didn't grow up with opportunities. I didn't grow up with support, but I grew up with one thing. The courage to think bigger than my situation." That's the lesson he left for anyone who heard his story. You don't need perfect circumstances to build a perfect future. You don't need wealth to start. You don't need recognition to begin. You only need one thing, a mind brave enough to believe in something bigger than your reality. Because the world will always tell you what you can't do. People will doubt you, laugh at you, ignore you. Life will throw obstacles, rejections, failures, and long nights at you. But if you can look at all of that and still say, "I'll keep going. I'll dream bigger. I'll rise anyway," then nothing on this planet can stop you. Liam Parker started with empty pockets. Most people do. But he didn't let empty pockets turn into an empty future. And neither should you. So the next time life makes you feel small, the next time you stare at a closed door, the next time you hear, "You can't," remember this story. Because greatness doesn't begin with money. It begins with a single thought. Think big, dream big, live big. Because your future becomes exactly as big as you allow your mind to be.